What's up, guys? News about Concord farms and farmers. What's going on? Everybody having an okay October?
Been hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's better than July.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Anybody? Anything? Anything exciting?
Yeah. We had a failed pumpkin crop. We had to buy some in because we put on some of a nice lowland, and this wasn't the year for that.
Mm.
But we have some lettuce under the remade. We're getting ready to put the strawberries to bed if it ever cools off.
Right.
Brian's gonna try to join later. He's with his mother right now, but we're popping the garlic right now. We're
Oh,
trying to think about that.
Yeah, a little early, I think, this year.
Yeah.
We're rolling up irrigation, my favorite thing, every inch that we get in that we never have to use again till next year.
always kind of a little shocking how much plastic we use for an organic farm when you start taking up the raised beds and the drip, but oh well.
Yeah, this bothers me. We were rolling up plastic today. We have an old two-row potato digger that lost its use as a potato digger, and I rigged up a thing on that a few years ago to wind the plastic up, and the guys like that, little cone sticking out one of the ends of the shaft, and they just wrap it up and throw it in the bed. But there's a lot of plastic that gets used once and thrown away as a replacement for herbicides and conservation of water.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's sort of thinking of doing no-till vegetables, or I don't really know enough about it to know how practical it is, but
Kind of doing it in our high tunnels. I think that's like baby steps, what people do. But I can't see us ever doing it on 15 acres.
wow, yeah.
I don't understand how anybody does it at any kind of scale. Like the only sort of successful situations I've seen have been pretty small.
Yeah.
I've always been puzzled that they say it's great because you don't disturb the soil, and if you disturb the soil, you plow it, they say you're putting oxygen in, it'll break down the organic matter because it has the oxygen in the soil. But if you use no-till, you leave it sitting on top where it's right in full air all the time. So I have a little trouble figuring out the train of thought there.
My impression is that Gaining Ground has put a lot of thought and time and energy into no-till. I've seen NOFA workshops advertised there as sort of demonstration sites. So we do at least have an example in our backyard, so to speak, of what it might
They
be.
have hundreds of volunteers a week to help with it.
Thousands of volunteers to make it
volunteers
possible.
and what, 3 acres or
How many?
Actually, no-till was a big thing about 50 years ago when I was on the conservation district. We had a no-till planter that we passed around the county for people to use. It was a big thing then for a few years, and then it went away, and now it's come back again.
Well, all my relatives in Nebraska are no-till, but
Exactly.
it's Roundup no-till.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the other thing, yeah.
right.
How much acreage does Gaining Ground use?
well, I said 3 acres.
I think that's
It might be
right.
more, but it's not 10.
No, it's pretty small is what I remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the largest I've seen is like 6 that was doing it.
Hmm.
And that's-
Yeah.
Perhaps we should make closer ties with Gaining Ground by inviting their farmer this winter to talk about what they do and how they grow. I understand that she's in a depression right now because they did lose a lot of crop this summer, just like everybody else. But it might be interesting. If we're interested in how they do it, let's hear from them.
Good idea.
That's how I got involved with the Ag Committee. I was working at Gaining Ground as the volunteer coordinator, and Jim Patterton, who was the chair of the Ag Committee, said, Gaining Ground should come, be on this committee, sit in. So, I mean, and I think the various farmers have been on the circulation list, but there's nothing like a direct person-to-person invitation.
Yeah. And I know my friend is now the head of the board, and I could ask her if they would like to be on our Zoom one day and just talk about what goes on there.
I've emailed
And-
with their farmer too, Anna. I could send her.
Yeah.
Right. And they are in that little film that we made that's on the website.
Shall we
Just
be so
all
bold
their-
as to do November or wait till January?
Invite them for November?
Sure.
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 Yeah.
It might be a shorter meeting and won't scare them away.
Yeah.
So I had one, this is just Gaining Ground reminded me of this. I had a woman reach out to me or to Hutchins Farm, not to me personally, to Hutchins Farm. She's the head of Mothers Out Front.
Mothers out front.
Right.
Yes.
Emily, I got your CC on this one too.
Yes.
They've also reached out to Gaining Ground. They were interested in this year trying to get together what they were calling a pumpkin smash, which is basically after Halloween is over, getting a composting site for like people to drop off their pumpkins and smash them for kids and like learn about composting and stuff like that. They got kind of late start, so they don't know what's really going to happen. We sort of said maybe we'd be interested, and Gaining Ground has expressed some interest in being a site or something. But then we were talking on the phone about it, and she said maybe in the future this is something the Ag Committee might want to be involved in as more of like a town-wide event, like for next year, not now. But if this was something that the Ag Committee would be interested in, sort of like helping coordinate or identifying sites or something, somehow being involved, if they sort of made this event like a annual thing. So what do y'all think?
So they take out the candles?
Yeah, they have to take out the candles. There's no painted pumpkins, nothing with like stickers. Like they have to be all food. Natural products. I think the town was also interested in potentially, like they have a composting site, I think. They couldn't do it this year there, but in the future they would maybe be interested in doing it, so that like they also could, the town would maybe be involved as well.
Where they compost leaves, or
Yeah, I think they normally compost leaves and like grass clippings or something.
yeah, at the old dump location.
Yeah. They also were thinking about, in the future, I think Concord is trying to get together some sort of curbside composting program. So they were thinking it might be like a nice event to like kick off something related to that, like an educational thing, but also kids could come smash their pumpkins, which it does sound fun.
Good idea. We there's some guy that comes by and takes our pumpkins for, I don't know, cows, or not cows, but I think his pigs.
Yeah,
So cows like them too.
Yeah.
that's cool.
Maybe we can throw them over the fence where you have your cows.
I mean, when I was talking with her about it, there's like some logistical problems with just like how we do compost at Hutchins Farm and where the compost is. So like we can't have the kids throw it directly into the compost because they can't get to the compost. But we could have them throw them into tractor buckets or something like that, drive it down there. But I was just sort of curious, would you guys be interested in something like that? Like, is that something like my first response was how many pumpkins, right? And they don't really know, you know, like 50 to 100, sure. Like 500, maybe not.
Oh, so these are like from individuals' houses in Concord, or?
Yeah.
Oh. Sure, why not?
Yeah, we'd probably have trouble being a site.
Yeah.
Our compost pile isn't like we have like managing it, and we definitely couldn't have them back there. But I wouldn't be against helping as part of the ag committee.
Yeah, I
On
think if the town wants to do it, I think the ag committee could be a sponsor or whatever, put up signs at the stands where they sell
Right.
pumpkins.
You know, like something like advertising too, like that this is coming. Like you can buy your pumpkin in a Concord farm stand and then you can dispose of it at the Concord, you know.
Nice.
We have to take them back.
Yeah. Well, not a farm, but like, oh, you
5
can
cents.
take it to
Oil
the dump.
goes
There's
back
this
to the
day,
gas
like a
station.
great day, like let's talk about the circle of life, you know, like there's, I
Get
don't
the
know.
deposit back.
Yeah.
Would Skip want to design like a giant like cornhole that we can throw the pumpkins into?
Yeah.
And
There you go.
smash pumpkins since no one can go back to anyone's compost piles.
Right.
That would
Put
be
it
cool.
right in the back of a truck.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be amazing. You just like get it in the mouth of some giant, I don't know, that would be fun.
And drive around Concord and pick up everyone's pumpkins.
Well, so if we're interested in at least sort of participating in some way, I can let her know that for next year. I mean, I do think it would be like a nice thing to be involved with. If
Yeah,
especially if the
yeah.
town is taking off on this.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and when you think of the long-range plan, the envisaged Concord plan, there is a theme running through of just raising awareness,
Mhm.
people, you know, visibility of farms, different seasons, that kind of thing. And the Food, Farm and Garden Fair, which revolved around Ag Day, was certainly a full-hearted attempt to do that. And something like this could be, you know,
Mhm.
that sort of event.
Yeah.
To
At one point, we were taking compost from a couple of the Concord schools, but it was just so much stuff that, like plastic containers and labels and spoons, and it was just, untenable, unfortunately. But
yeah.
Yeah,
I think if the town will do it at their site, there's plenty of parking
Mhm.
and it's an open space. And all we would have to do is direct our customers to,
Yeah.
on a certain day or weekend or whatever the town wants to do, we could, get the pumpkins over there and the people can still smash them. The town has the machines
Yeah.
to move the stuff around.
right. Yeah, that was my first reaction was we don't have a dump truck anymore, which would be ideal.
Yeah, probably would be a reasonable mix to go with the leaves too.
Yeah.
Well, I can get back to her about that, but if you guys are on board with at least like promoting it or being involved in some fashion, I think it would be a nice thing in the fall.
Mhm.
If
Somehow
this is-
or other.
Yeah.
I will help. If that, I'll
Right.
help.
I'll let her know.
we'll put you in charge, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any news or updates or?
Speaking of pumpkins, we were up in Maine over the weekend, and there's a pumpkin festival there where they had 60-something pumpkins that must have averaged 400 or 500 pounds. all lined up through the town on in front of different stores and places, and painted and decorated the different characters. And it was quite a thing. Usually they have a regatta there where they open them and clean them out, and somebody gets in and rows them down the river. But because of COVID, they skipped that this year.
That's hilarious.
Where in Maine is this? Is this like, do you remember?
Oh,
Because I've
Yeah.
heard of this before.
I'll remember it in a few minutes.
They do it also in Goffstown, New Hampshire.
Yeah, I've heard there is one there too.
They have pumpkin races in which people are inside the hollowed out pumpkin with a paddle. And
Right. I
I
think
forget
it's
the
up
name of the
in
river.
Pennsylvania they do too.
Okay.
Well, I'm not suggesting we do that.
Yeah, we have the river.
Yeah.
All right, should we talk about Ag Day recap?
Mm,
Sounds good. All right. Everybody have a good Ag Day?
Very
Yeah.
good.
Very good.
yeah.
Does anyone have any guess as to how many people walk through there? Seemed
I
like a
think
lot
that-
of people.
I think it might have been the biggest attendance. I'm not sure.
It was
Mm.
good. I have heard from a few nonprofits, they had a great time. The mothers out front recruited 30 volunteers. Like it was very successful for a lot of the nonprofits, which was nice to hear. And I heard from Colonial Gardens had a great day. So that was nice too. But yeah.
Yeah. Soapbox said they had a really good, like that it was their biggest sale one.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we had the least amount of vegetables we've had in a few years, but like better sales, probably the best sales that we've ever had.
I feel like at one point we were trying to count people. I don't know which year that was. But I think
I
we
think you're
actually
right.
had some volunteers with like clickers
Yes.
trying to figure out how many people were there. But I don't think that's, I don't know how that, I don't really know how that works.
Be pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
We didn't try this year. So
Hey, Brian.
Hi, what'd I miss? Don't even tell me.
Let me tell you, you can read the notes later.
I'll watch it on the tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Steve, was it Damriscata? I never know.
Yes, yes, it was. Yeah.
That's a good name.
What's the proper pronunciation?
I think you hit it.
Okay,
Damascotta, yeah.
we're talking about a
How were
pumpkin
the,
festival, or
Damriscata.
maybe smashing pumpkins at the end of the season for composting in Concord.
We're not going to roll anybody into the river though.
how were the veggie races?
They were great.
Veggie car races.
I totally, we underestimated how many people would be interested and how many kids would not give back their wheels. So we ran out of wheels an hour in. And then we did veggie decorating, which after the kids with the wheels finally left the area, veggie decorating was wildly successful. And next year we will do better. the kids and the parents though were very happy. We got nothing but positive feedback, even after we ran out of wheels. Like they were totally thrilled. It went, I think, pretty well.
Yeah, I've heard positive things since then too. We just need to get more volunteers and devote a larger area to it, I think.
I think partially it was such a nice day. You know, with COVID, everybody has been cooped up. This was a thing they could do, take the kids to, and I just didn't see that coming on the fall. But it was great. It was great. Shrimp was
You need
great.
to figure out more vegetables that you can stick a axle in.
It was amazing kids' creativity though. We had like one kid had this giant carrot. One kid, there were lots of
That's
like
good.
icons. There was of course a ton of winter squash. There was a corn one that was pretty funny. But it was very cute. And even after we ran out of wheels, the kids decorating, lots of kids decorating pumpkins. Like they were great. And our volunteers were great. Kara was great, Brian's wife. She stayed the whole day. So it was, I think it went really well. And I think next year, maybe just
More.
more people, more. It'll be good. We did, my friend in Colorado did sponsor buying all the decorations for it. And then Shrimp very nicely donated also his extra wheels that he bought us, which was so nice. So thanks to him too. I wondered if there was like, in the future, if maybe like Vanderhoof's Hardware might want to sponsor the veggie races, or like some way to get some of the local businesses sort of like in the mix a little bit.
Good idea.
You know, talk about that next. Yeah, because I thought, I mean, we got some wheels back, but a lot of kids were just like, you know, it's like a screaming fit. We're not having a crying fit here. That's your problem. It's fine.
I mean, I think that Stone Soup was so quick to help out with the brochures. I wonder if they would also be excited to help with some other stuff for Ag Day.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like definitely more wheels and stuff like that. But, overall, the material costs aren't crazy. Like they're just, you just do need to pay for them. That's
right.
Yeah.
You just,
yeah. It would be nice if we could figure a way that it did tie in with some of the merchants along Main Street.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting if we were able to get sort of, Vanderhoof's Hardwares came to mind because I emergency ran in there to get more tubing and cardboard. Mom gave me a giant piece of cardboard so we could change it over to veggie decorating. They were very, very helpful. But yeah, I think it would be, if we could get some of those businesses involved, that would be great. But it might be an in.
Were merchants all right about it? You had said in the past some were kind of.
I mean, I didn't talk to Main Street. I did talk to Lucy Lacoste. She was totally happy. And Grasshopper is always thrilled. They never complain. And Vanderhoof's was happy. So I don't know. Did anybody else talk to anybody?
Not merchants, but we did have a meeting with the town manager and the assistant town manager last week, and they were very happy with you.
Okay, great. That's good to know.
Great.
I did talk to also Ron, the safety officer. Ron. Afterwards, he said they were totally thrilled that everything went smoothly on their end. They were really happy with the planning, so that was great to know. They said looking forward to next year.
Bravo. That's great.
We did okay, guys.
And that musician was very happy. He
he
loved the audience.
Great. Did anybody watch him? He was amazing. That thing was so cool. I think the kids were really into it too. Like it just looked so interesting. It was a really nice vibe. I would love him.
Wow.
Yeah. Anybody else saying anything about Ag Day?
Well, we
There
had
were
never
some
done
of these
it.
sassy bikers. I was kind of for a little bit policing the bikers and telling them to walk their bikes, and there were a few that were like
yeah, I do think we could use some more like sort of miscellaneous volunteers, like, so the police don't have to do the bikes, like somebody on either side helping with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we had never done it before, so we had no idea what to expect, but we kept running back to the farm to grab more stuff.
Good.
Now we have a better idea for next year. Yeah, I thought it was Melissa and Elias did a great job of orchestrating things. It was really done well.
And Happy got the banner done.
Happy's husband for the graphics and the sign. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, speaking of that, the poster, I mean, I think Joe, am I right about this? Somebody offered to buy it, was longing to buy it. So consider Ag Committee merch.
Yes.
Actually, Jen Verrill had that idea. Like, should we be having some sort of Ag Day swag, or Ag Committee swag, or bag or something.
Yeah.
And
there
whatever
was-
opportunity to sell it there, like people might be into that, ooh, Ag Day Market 2021,
Right.
I was there.
Yeah, I survived Ag Day
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah, the only problems on Instagram have been too much interest in Ag Day. One woman was annoyed that we don't do it all the time, so Liza helped me respond why we can't do it all the time. And then someone else, this wasn't a problem, but they wanted to know where the block print came from that's on the poster and the brochure. And I said I didn't know, and I haven't heard back from Shrimp. Do you know, Happy?
We bought a card in Germany years ago.
Wow.
Amazing.
We owe some royalty.
Great story.
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
Cool. That's why everyone thought it was so cool. It actually is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of positive feedback about that poster. People were into that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Maybe we
and
should
it-
sell T-shirts with that image.
Be a little careful.
well, I looked into getting T-shirts, but it was too short and too expensive
Yeah.
for the time, at least for the farmers to have.
No,
But- And that's the problem with the town. We can't make money.
right.
Ah.
Well, maybe
One of the nonprofits was selling their T-shirts and said that it went really well. Like they do, it's like a fundraiser for them or something, and they sell T-shirts. The Nature Connection, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I deposited all of the, whatever we call it, registration fees. So we made $250 or something like that for our account, but then that goes to the town and they pay whatever bills we get, and then they supplement, I guess, whatever else.
Cool. Anything else on Ag Day?
So I guess we're going to do it again. Is that-
Unless there's another pandemic.
Yeah.
I hope next year the garden club will get back involved. I hope that they will do it again, because I think the event went great, and the event has always been its own thing, but it's nice to have the other stuff attached to it. So hopefully
We got lucky with the library happening at the same time. I felt like it
Right.
served a similar thing where it like reached out to people who wouldn't have specifically come for Ag.
Yeah, I actually wonder if we should talk to them about how far in advance do they plan that? Should we time that
Yeah.
again, like on the same day? Because that was pretty nice. Yeah.
A lot of people were carrying books around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it seemed like they'd gone there and then come down the street to Ag Day. So that,
I think vice versa too. There were a lot of people walking back and forth on that stretch of Main Street. So I think it really helped. Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
seems
thi-
like
I
a
think
good
the
synergy.
library-
Yeah, I think it was. So
Yeah.
did anybody go to the what is the beer, what was the Oktoberfest thing, or afterwards? Wasn't there something at the end of the day, or?
Yeah, Steve, you had said there was something about a tavern.
I don't think they went ahead with that. I'm not sure.
Oh,
yeah, because I came back through town at like 4 or 5 to pick up all the Ag Day signs that we had out, and nothing was going on.
Yeah, no, that was an idea. I don't think it ever materialized.
Oh, Steve, by the way, I think you still have 2 of the Ag Day plywood signs at the farm.
Possible.
Can I come to grab them sometimes? I'll store them in our office. I keep forgetting. I drive past there all the time and I keep forgetting.
Okay.
I'm gonna remember.
I have a related brochure question. Do people have enough brochures at their farms? We still have plenty. I'm just keeping the boxes in our farm stand, like, to distribute. I still haven't made it to Millbrook. And Happy, I was wondering about Rotundo. I had him on my list to bring some to. I drove past, I didn't see anybody.
He's been open sporadically,
Okay.
but you could always drop some off.
Just leave
Or you
them.
Come to us and we'll
Okay.
talk in one.
Do you have enough at Shimoni?
We could use probably a few more. I've actually seen a lot of people say, "Oh, look at this! Wow, can I have one?" Yes.
Well, now I pass there all the time because my parents just moved to Bedford.
Ah,
I could bring you new ones every day.
I'm not sure. I think we might not have any. I'm not sure what status is.
You do.
Okay.
I dropped them off there, but I don't know where. I dropped them off with somebody.
Well, usually things go out pretty fast.
Yeah, we should, I could do a trade and bring you more brochures and pick up the plywood for.
Sounds like a deal.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, should we move on? Move on to number 4. The pollinator committee membership. So the pollinator committee has started up again. They, I guess in their sort of like charter, they're supposed to have a member of the ag committee or a member of the, or a designee of the ag committee on their committee. Brian has done it.
Nominate Brian.
I've already been there for years.
Brian
Somebody else
basically
is there.
quit. So does anybody have any interest in doing it? No. Does anybody,
Why not?
you want to do it, Steve?
Sure.
All right.
Wow.
You and Mark are gonna get along famously.
Oh my goodness.
That's
I did
awesome.
not see that one coming.
No, I missed it. That's great.
Unless Joe would like to.
No, not.
Steve, that's awesome. I think Mark will be thrilled. That'd be great. I can email the two of you so you both have each other's contact info, although you probably both do. I'll do it anyway. That would be great. All right, that was the end of that one. Number 5, the Envision Concord update to the select board.
Hmm.
I'm a little lost on this one, but the select board has requested that all the committees that were sort of in the Envision, what is it called? Envision Concord 2030, the long range plan, sort of like basically give a status report of like where we are with the action items we were tagged with in the report. It's a long document. I was unfamiliar with it. I read through some of it. I did on pages, what is it? 263 through 265, there's like a chart, and then it sort of shows like who is supposed to be involved with what action item. Melissa, do you know more about this than I do?
I don't. I tried to get more info and didn't hear back. The last email you saw from Terry was it. I mean, I do have the info we're supposed to provide, like the little spreadsheet.
Okay.
I did just look through searching for agriculture committee, and we're in mainly 2 goals. So I think that we don't have too much, and a fair amount of it is that everyone is supposed to support us.
Well, this might be helpful. I stared at that 250-page thing and couldn't make sense out of it, but I did come across on page 191. On page 191, there is a statement of the Agriculture Committee, and it has about 5 points to it. And I mean, I'm not sure what we're doing, but it could be that what we're supposed to do is to update or augment that.
Yeah. So the I saw that too. I think the chart is most useful in that
Oh,
they are asking us to fill out something more in chart form where it's like, idea number, goal number, action number, and I
Yeah.
think it corresponds, like what's in the chart and what's in the part that you said, Joe.
Okay.
And so we're supposed to report on the status, complete, in process, or on hold, actions taken to date, and then plans for things you haven't done yet.
I mean, were there specific goals? Like, I remember
Yeah.
things that we were dealing with for in the long term were like cataloging, you know, potential agricultural lands and like keeping that up to date, and encouraging, you know, outreach to people who own property to, you know, rent. I mean, I don't know. I was involved at that point, but I can't remember what the long-term plan specifically said. I know it wasn't too many things, but it was probably
No.
3 to half a dozen.
Yeah.
I'm looking at page 200, and where agriculture is goal number 6, and then it says 5 core action areas will advance this strategy. And somebody said it's almost as if the way this is written, everybody else is rallying around to support agriculture even more perhaps than the ag committee is doing things, apart from, I mean, you know, like addressing zoning issues or doing an overlay district or protecting and retaining land. That would be something that the town would do.
So I
Melissa,
think
what
that
are
it's
the
true.
two?
Oh, sorry. For goal number 6, but then there is a goal number 3 that has action plans that we would be more involved in, and it has to do with ensuring that all Concord residents understand the value of conservation lands and natural resources, including a bunch of things. And the ag committee is listed under like action number 4 is promote a robust series of volunteer opportunities and service days that are regularly scheduled and become townwide commitments to sustainability and land conservation. The ag committee is like listed in that action plan. So I think we would write like goal number 3, action number 4. We're not doing it yet. I'm not
We're
sure.
still thinking.
Yeah, but I think you're right, Emily, that the goal number 6 is less of things for us to do and more of them supporting us.
So they're focusing more, the select board is focusing more on goal number 3?
Oh, no, I'm just saying we would have more to say about goal number 3 because it's asking something more specifically of us.
Right.
Goal number 6, I don't really see what, we could write it, but then I guess just say if they're doing a good job supporting. But you're right, we're not listed in very many things.
Well, I mean, even under goal number 3, and as I'm looking at it on page 198, it's the volunteer opportunities is part of is a core action area number 3. I mean, wouldn't you say that, isn't there a way that Ag Day could be recast as raising awareness of farming, farm protection?
And our plan is to recruit more volunteers to help.
Boy, that's what I just heard from the discussion about Ag Day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little hard because like if you're a for-profit business, you really can't have volunteers in the same way that like a nonprofit or a town can have. So you know, we can't really have true service days like at a farm.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe
but you could if you did a pumpkin smash or a.
We could also ask Gaining Ground and then sort of
Punt it to
Be
them.
like, well, they're doing it.
I mean, we do some service days with local schools where we have a big group come in and do work.
Oh, yeah, because you're a nonprofit. Yeah.
Well, I would think that the brochure, the guide to the Concord Farms, is our promotion of agriculture in Concord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, if they want to fund it, that would be great.
Yeah.
But
And
also
the film that
perhaps
was-
our
the
films,
Yeah.
they're on CCTV would be another way we've promoted.
Yeah, that's true. We're listed under this information boards that report back on how the town is doing regarding land conservation, supporting agricultural and general sustainability goals. But we haven't been asked to provide information.
I mean, I feel a little bit like, what was the board that talked to us about, they were the ones doing the heat that we had the special meeting on. What committee was that? I'm blanking right now.
Well, a while ago, there was a joint meeting between the Ag Committee and the Board of Assessors talking about.
I think Liza's talking about when they were talking about the potential for certain town warrants that were going to
Yeah.
basically no more fossil fuel infrastructure.
Right.
I think that was the sustainability committee.
That was
Yeah, you're right.
I felt like that was actually kind of a classic example. The sustainability committee didn't talk to us about, like, they didn't include us in the planning on that. And that was like an oversight.
Mhm.
And they basically said it was too late to
Yeah.
do anything when we were talking about the problems of
Yeah.
heating greenhouses.
I've really been thinking about how we're gonna work into non-fossil fuel tractors. And I know John Deere has been researching and experimenting with electric tractors, but they don't have anything ready to even show people yet. I
Even
can
if you go
envision,
no-till, then you won't have to, if you just do silage targeting
Right.
and no-till, then you don't need a tractor.
All you do is throw a few seeds on the ground and they just grow.
well, you can't have oxen because they'd belch methane. But I can envision the time when we have more solar panels and use those to power tractors. But to do that, you have to have probably a battery that's easily exchangeable and have two batteries, or else one to store it and a quick charge, because you're usually using your vehicle at the time that the solar production is the greatest. So you can't just leave it sitting there to charge up when the sun's out. And most of the batteries now are pretty cumbersome and heavy, and they're not meant to take in and out every day. So I don't know.
Well, it'll be
an answer.
a smart tractor, and it can work at night.
There you go. Well, maybe you got a point there. All
I
automated.
don't think so.
Scare the deer at night.
GPS.
Brian's pretty anti-automation. Well, so yeah, I guess I don't really, I mean, we can fill this out as like the ones we know, like we are promoting agriculture. There's some ways we can definitely do it, but there's nothing I guess I feel like there's nothing in here that we haven't been taking action on, because most of it seems to be action by other committees that they're just supposed to consult with us on. Is that kind of what everybody?
Yeah, I mean, there's another two that I was wondering about. One is continue encouraging property owners to sign up for Chapter 61A.
Yeah.
We're listed there. I don't know. There's,
Well, you know, I don't know. Would that be the ag committee or would it be the town or? I mean,
well,
we.
the ag committee's listed, but so is
Yes.
planning and finance. I mean, I don't think we would have a big role in that, but.
Or wouldn't necessarily take the lead.
Well,
The easiest
it
way
would,
to approach these things is to have, you know, we have these two different forums. We have Ag Day and we have the Spring Forum, and to have
Right.
some sort of information about 61A
Yeah.
that fills, you know, whether it be just like a sign that says, do you own 5 acres?
Yeah.
Well, you know, Chip, when he was chair, that was the spring forum. It was all about 61A, and we sent letters advertising it to property owners with open space. And I don't know that anything particular came of that, but I actually don't think we did much follow up. And that would certainly be, you know, I think somebody from the assessor's office was, some other town department was represented as well, and that makes sense. Because it's the kind of transaction that covers different.
it makes
different
more
government
land available to farmers, but a lot of the parcels are gonna be small and maybe irregular and maybe not near where your home base is, so that makes some of it less viable, but it's a good thing to pursue.
I think the
Before we get
assessors
to-
have mixed feelings about it.
What, it takes the money out of the tax roll?
Yeah,
Well, it just redistributes it.
Right.
The other one is about like supporting community gardens. Steve, you plow for them?
I did a couple years ago. I think Bill Kenny did this year. They didn't call me this year, but I have.
So we should just say, we know a farmer who plowed for them. That's how we support it.
we sell plants to people who grow them at the community.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
There you
That's
go.
a good one.
Yeah, I think Kenny also plows for the community garden over here.
Yeah, that's what he did this year. That's what I was saying.
And Ricky Marshall plows for the Rogers Community Garden. He does that. More specifically, he disc harrows every spring.
How many are there in Concord now? Is it 2 or
3, I think.
3?
3.
Are they all utilized?
I'm over at the one across from the courthouse, and a few years ago it was totally booked, like with a waiting list. Now, not quite as subscribed,
But it
and
was,
also getting wetter by the
yeah,
season.
that must have been an issue there this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was swampy. At the Rogers Community Garden, that's fully booked. So all of those plots, there's I think 30 plots, and they're all.
That would be a banner year for that one.
Yeah.
With all the rain.
Yes, we had no standing water.
That's lucky.
Yes.
So, I mean, it sounds like continuing to support community gardens, it's like farmers it's just not like a formal process for it. So
I'm just reading it off so that people can say ideas, and then I could try to write it if you want.
sounds good.
Just to clarify why I'm just reading things at you.
No, that's great, Melissa. I like it.
The other one that mentions us is better communicate to residents and visitors how trails, natural spaces, agricultural lands, and historical assets fit together.
Well, we did drop the map off at the visitor center.
There you go. Brochures are gonna, some things are gonna be listed repeatedly.
Over and over again. I mean, it's hard because it's some of our agricultural lands that are perhaps rented or otherwise do have walking trails around them.
Yeah,
And some of them are private property, so
right.
no.
We'll emphasize the walking trail
Right.
ones. I should say that we've actually, in the past, we've had maps here for the walking trails, which we actually haven't gotten them in a little while. But we can still say that at the farms with walking trails, we have maps from the farm.
I know that at the beginning of the pandemic that they weren't like distributing the maps.
Oh,
Was this the Concord Conservation?
RC.
Yeah.
And they came out with quite an extensive brochure that's available now.
we should get that. I mean, that was really popular. People took them all the time because we're always trying to explain to them where the trails are over here.
We're always trying to explain to them, please do not walk down our driveway
Yeah.
right
Right.
past Lisa's house because it freaks her out.
I mean, and we're constantly applying to the historic districts for things and trying to explain to them why it should be okay to do farming things. Is that,
That's our outreach.
does that count? Yeah.
Sure.
No, I think that's good.
Say like constantly applying to the Historic Districts Commission. One of them came to buy something the other day and I was trying to tell him where something went. He's like, oh, I know. I've been on many informational walks here. It was like from all the site visits.
Will they frown at your hoop houses?
Yeah, right. He was like, don't. And then he goes, as he was leaving, he goes, I always approved it.
Would say that.
Yeah. Okay, so we're working on communicating.
One thing kind of related to that maybe, so I'm on the Concord Housing Foundation board now, and they are very interested in, like, once the new national park director is sworn in, I think they named a director, but I didn't catch the name. They would like to have someone from the ag committee meeting with the new superintendent and possibly with the town manager to discuss the housing, because they have these funds to fix up their housing. But that is, like something that the ag committee could potentially play an advising role in with the national park on. Like it's sort of related to like their interests in history and open space and us communicating with them on that. So.
Steve, would that be an avenue for you for
I know for the next year, I've renewed my lease at the View in Maynard for two of the condos over there. And I did that to see the place next door to us in Sudbury will be operating sometime next summer. And we might end up buying something there or leasing. I don't know. They haven't got it priced out yet. But there are 170 or something units going in right there. And it's supposed to be somewhat affordable housing.
Yeah, you see all these signs in the national park for, houses for rent. So I don't really know quite how that all works out, but
Well, we've had to rent for 12 months at the View to ensure it's available for the 7 months we want it.
Hmm.
And that's $35,000 a unit.
God,
And I might have mentioned before, we've rented out the apartment here to H2B workers that work in a nursery rather than a farm, so they can live near animals because they don't work on a farm. But if you work on a farm, you can't live near the animals.
really, things are so messed up.
So
If they work on any farm, so we couldn't have our workers live next door to you.
Right.
I think it's all about seasonal, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
They all
other
work.
thing. If they worked 12 months and they weren't seasonal, they could live there, but if they just work part of the year, they can't. I mean, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk more about that before I try to go to sleep.
Sorry.
Are we listed in anything related to housing or not really, actually?
I didn't see our name in the housing,
I don't either.
but there. I was actually surprised. But there is a section for us to say, what does it say? Like any major new long-range goals and actions not reflected in the plan.
Oh.
So I could double check that we aren't mentioned in housing, but like we could add something about housing.
I mean, I feel like Brian had mentioned to me that like a few years ago, the Ag Committee had like toured the national park.
Oh, yeah.
conservation and stuff. So like we did do some work towards that. It just, nothing happened, but
They didn't at that time have the
yeah.
funding. It's a new, I forget exactly what the act is called, but it's like they have a lot of funding now to fix up the housing.
Yeah, there were two issues. I mean, part of it was renovation, like funding for renovation. And then the other issue was figuring out how to subsidize the rents because I think they are unable to rent them at lower than fair market value. And so you would have to have some nonprofit renting it for the fair market value and then providing a subsidy to enable people to pay a lower rent. Because
So my understanding is that potentially also like the town could be an intermediary, and that
we had talked about
it wouldn't
Concord
have to be
Housing
charged
Commission.
a fair market value if it was like a town or a nonprofit doing it.
But this isn't a new issue because the Wheeler Farm up the hill from me and the used to be Hallett Farm where Tommy Toronto lives. Both of those farms built two houses 100 years ago to house their farm workers. And the prison built housing for the guards because that was an issue. But I think the goal should be able to charge enough for the food and pay the workers enough so they can afford market housing and not have to subsidize.
There is kind of a larger issue beyond our control, though, of just how out of control housing prices
Market
are
is.
here.
We
It's
have to work at it.
affordable for most people.
Yeah, housing in Concord rental prices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you say fair market, it's not fair because you have, international players buying up property and inflating the prices. So I think subsidies are the way to go, or just being able to have
Building more housing too.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
just a
so
shortage.
the food price issue, I mean, there are subsidies that make it why our food already seems expensive, and then like there's still going to be supermarkets around, so there's only so much we can
That's
push
an issue.
short term.
Well, so is that something that like if we put housing as like a goal that we are, like put it in here that like that's something we're really concerned about and have been trying to brainstorm and work with other partners to figure out. It's apparently not listed in here.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not. I mean, it seems like it's been a priority
Yeah.
for a number of years.
Housing is, I thought housing was in it,
Yeah.
but just that the ag committee wasn't listed as one of the actors or the.
That makes sense.
For whatever it's worth, it is the first item on the list on the page 191, the need for
Right.
farmer and farm worker housing that they can afford. That was
Yeah, it's part of the original. So where are we in the action section?
item number 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and Lise, when you were invited to join the Concord Housing Foundation, that was in your role as a farm owner, farm business owner, looking for housing for your.
As a
Well,
resident of affordable housing, and as I think they were very involved in fixing up our house.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that was how it was low hanging fruit.
They wanted you. Well, but that's interesting actually that Joe was saying it's listed, basically farm worker housing is listed as a priority, but then we're apparently not listed in the action items under that one, which is kind of strange.
But what could the Ag Committee do? I mean, that's such a partnership by itself.
That's the point, is sort of like, why aren't we listed as a partner?
Even a partner, yeah.
Not like the primary driver.
Advising.
Yeah, but like, shouldn't we be on like the advising? So like, shouldn't they be talking to us?
Right.
I'm sort of surprised, especially since the actual document says how that's so important. That's sort of funny. And we have been thinking about it and talking about it and doing at least a lot of brainstorming work on it. So
I think that'd be simple to include. It's straightforward.
yes. Yeah. How do we feel on this, Melissa? Did we cover all our big hits?
How does it work in terms of if we're allowed to circulate? Like if I wrote something, people can respond just to me, right? As long as it doesn't go like, because I wouldn't want to. My notes aren't so expensive that I should submit it before people read it and could add things. Like I could email a quick draft and then I can email it to everybody, but then if people have edits, they just email me and then we're okay for open meeting law, I think.
I think so.
That makes sense.
Henry will know.
Oh, wait.
Okay. That'll be the plan.
Great.
And it's due in November before our next meeting, so I'll do it well before that.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. Any other business?
Should we be thinking about the spring forum?
Probably we should at least start brainstorming.
We want to try to get a second part 2 of the film. If there's a new Minuteman Media Network person that we could communicate with about. There were several farms that were interested in being in it that weren't in the first
Right.
one.
That's true. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. We could also do some kind of like virtual showing or something of the one we do have, since that's like about spring, be a little like more timely. Because if we were doing another edition, we wouldn't have time to film it now, so that would be like getting it going for maybe after the spring forum would have already happened.
It'd be nice if we could think about something in person, I think, with people, but maybe it's premature, I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Well, if it pushes into April, maybe it could be in a tent.
Yeah, outside would be nice because then we could plan on it, like, if-
Sort of, yeah.
depending, like the conditions wouldn't matter quite as much. Well, weather conditions would matter more, pandemic conditions would matter less.
We could have a tent available by April, all right?
Mhm.
Be careful of the monsoons.
Yeah.
I mean, usually by the end of April, it's kind of nice, so. We're nice enough.
Some years.
Some years. Well, maybe we should all think about some potential topics, anything like that. We could come back to the November meeting, thinking about maybe some stuff, bring your ideas, whether in person or virtual.
Oh, I had a question about that. Are we meeting virtually now because of something that's changed in the town, or it just was convenient for these few meetings, or?
It was partially convenience, partially COVID numbers, but it was slightly just convenience.
Right.
Do people have an opinion? Do we like this? Do we not like this?
A greenhouse is always available if you'd like to meet there.
Thank you, Steve.
I like the virtual for now. I don't feel comfortable meeting inside.
The COVID numbers in Concord have been very good. If you listen to the Board of Health meetings,
Yeah, which is
there
encouraging.
are very few infections and they haven't been that serious.
Yeah, until my kids get vaccinated, I'm masking up inside.
Understood. I mean, I think this is also pretty easy in the winter too. So it's
Right.
yeah.
Maybe every third or fourth meeting, we could do a in person and have a dinner thing. That was nice.
Steve's game, his greenhouse is still there.
Right.
Yeah, we can play it by ear.
Can't expect him to cater every time, though.
Yeah, does everybody just want to think about the spring forum and think about, we could talk about it we can put it as an agenda item next month and like really think about it and maybe start planning on it, whatever it may be. I don't have any great ideas, but
Good idea.
maybe we can think about it by then.
That's
I'm a little brain dead this month, so.
Right.
That comes from not intermingling with people.
I see plenty of people, unfortunately.
Too many people.
Too many people right now. Wait, that was my other question. We're closing probably the 31st. Is anybody, I mean, what are you guys doing, Melissa and Lise?
30th for the farm stand.
Halloween and it's over.
I wish we were that smart. We have to stay up all year to make it
All year
go.
round.
I was trying to remember, Steve, when you had the stand before, was that open year round
Yeah,
before the fire?
right.
Oh, wow.
Does Shimonis close down too? Or do they stay open?
We are open till Thanksgiving usually, if it doesn't get too cold.
Got it. Maybe a little bit longer.
Does it die off a lot for you after Halloween?
Oh, yeah. If it's not pumpkins or squash, forget it.
Right.
Do you have a report on how Small Farm did this summer?
Oh, they're going great guns still. The
Oh,
summer
good.
isn't over.
All right, so we're good with that. Public forum next month. Sound good? Spring forum next month. Any public comment?
Well, we should also look at dates for next Ag Day.
I wonder if we should talk to the library again and see if we can coordinate.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that should really be like,
Yeah.
it was-
Typically, they've had their sale in June.
Oh, really?
And the reason they did it this fall was because they had missed two, I guess. But maybe they could be persuaded that this is good synergy.
and it probably worked well for them to be tied in with us. Yeah,
Yeah.
as you say, so maybe they would go along with keeping the same time frame.
I
Yeah,
can reach out to them. And maybe we can start a conversation about that, like how it went for them and whether or not they'd like to coordinate for next year.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I gotta remember what I gotta do. All right. Sounds good. So well, after we hear back from the library, maybe we can make a decision about next year's Ag Day and start talking to the town about that.
So when would the next meeting be? Second Thursday?
Yeah, is I think November 11th, unless my calendar is wrong.
Okay.
Does that work for everybody?
Yep.
Yep.
It is Veterans Day that the town doesn't mind.
Oh, is that
I don't know if it's an actual holiday. I was just looking at.
Schools are closed.
schools are closed?
Mhm.
I mean, we could push it till the 18th.
It doesn't matter to me. I wasn't sure if they would do.
We'll take care.
Do you mind, Henry, if it's on the holiday?
If what's on a holiday?
I guess it's Veterans Day if we do it on November 11th.
And that's just a matter of, but I don't, if it's a 3-day weekend, is that how it works out?
It's a Thursday, so it's not a
Thursday? Well, that's, and I don't think it makes any difference. The only, I mean, that's just a matter of the convenience of the committee members. If, if they're gonna be unavailable. But, you know, Veterans Day is not, I don't think, if it's not a 3-day weekend, people aren't gonna be out of town.
Be a 4-day weekend.
4-day weekend? Yeah, well, you know.
Last
that's
year,
the-
when we had a meeting scheduled on the first night of Hanukkah, Chris Carmody did email me and suggest that we change it.
That's also like an evening holiday though, right? So
Yeah.
Well,
doesn't matter to me either 11th or 18th.
you know, if we had a whole bunch of things on 9/11 and nobody seemed to think anything of it, which puzzled me. But and if there would be a holiday in which people would have respect, you'd think that would be you know, that would be one of them.
Right.
We'll leave it to you, Liza, to check with the powers that be.
Okay, well, let's plan on the 11th, and if it doesn't, we'll find out from the town if that's allowed, but other than that, we'll plan on the 11th, if that's okay with everybody.
There are no powers that be.
There are no powers that be. All right, so we're going with the 11th. All right, motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move. Okay, I'll second. 8:22.
Awesome. All right, guys, I'll see you in a month.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.